Hello, welcome to the program FootPrints. My name is Attah-Mensah. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking with the lady of the moment. One that I'll consider a big fish, seeing that it gets so difficult getting women on the program. We'll be right back.
Born Elizabeth Yanka to two teachers who taught in Accra, Mrs. Villars started Class 1 in Salt Pond and was moved around due to the profession of her parents. After school, she worked with the University of Ghana, where her journey in information technology began.
Welcome back to the program. Now you know who we are talking about, Mrs. Elizabeth Joyce Villars. Welcome to the program, Mommy.
Thank you.
I know why I can call you Mommy. It's good to see you. The name Mrs. Villars has been a name that we grew up, always hearing in the news. Not because you're a political appointee or anything like that, but because you were one of the women that drove industry. And so today we are here to just walk through the footprints of Mrs. Villars.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Now, tell us about Mrs. Villars. Where do you come from?
Oh, from many places in Ghana. I'm a Fanti.
Originally?
No, all along.
Oh.
I've been a Fanti.
So you're Fanti on both sides?
On both sides. My mom is a Fanti. My dad is a Fanti.
What were some of your recollections of life in Holy Child School?
Holy Child, I loved it. I mean, my good reminiscence of Holy Child, I wouldn't say, basically, I would say Holy Child encouraged me to be what I am.
Action, not words.
Action, not words at all.
Is it what? Factor, non-verbal, or whatever?
Factor, non-verbal. So it's action, not words.
You remember your school anthem?
School anthem. I can sing it for you if you want it.
Yes.
My voice is not too good, so don't.
We didn't bring a keyboard here, so just do us the honors, because there are lots of people watching. Holy Child people, just look into your
this
camera.
is our 75th anniversary in March.
I have seen it all over on social media.
Is that why you are interviewing me today?
Maybe.
This would be something good for the Holy Child platform. They would love to see this.
Holy Child, I've seen all my Holy Child friends on social media post the 75th anniversary thing. In fact, my assistant in the office went to Holy Child herself.
Did she? Is she here? She's
no,
not here.
she is not here.
So a Hobson, I guess.
Yes.
Say hello to her for me.
I will do. Priscilla, she's called. Yes. So the school anthem, so that we can sing along. Those of you at home, please.
I don't have very good voice anyway. Thou art the light, the bright and morning star, in whom we ever live and move and are. Thou art the key to treasures new and old, that turns the toil of every day to gold. Oh, Holy Child.
For school anthem, there's always the part that students will use to do some rough.
Well, this is too sanctimonious
to do, because there's one KNUST anthem, which is a borrowed song. Lift every heart to let it every door. So in tech, when it gets to where they say, sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us, and the Katanga boys will take over and spoil the whole thing.
Just add the saddle anthem. Somido. Without the Somido, you wouldn't complete it. Yes.
That's true. Okay, so Mrs. Villars, so which year did you leave Holy Child?
I left in 62.
Oish.
I'm sure most of you were not born then.
No, these are post 1990s.
Oh, I like them because they are so dynamic with fresh ideas.
And she's talking about my crew.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, 1962. And from Holy Child, what happened to you?
From Holy Child, it's interesting. During the holidays, during those days, after even O-level, you could get a job during vacation before you can proceed on with whatever you wanted. So I got a job at the Ministry of Industries.
All right.
And this was not too, far from Ghana attaining independence. And Kwame Nkrumah had started this serious industrialization. So there was a special exhibition hall open at the Ministry of Industries for made in Ghana products to be exhibited. And it formed a sort of advert or promotion for other nationals who wanted to set up industries in Ghana. And I was in charge of that exhibition hall. I needed to know the products, where they are manufactured from, nationals who are, exhibiting or producing them in Ghana, a little bit about the company, the strength, the labor force in the company, when they started in Ghana and where they are marketing. And you'd be amazed that even that time, there were quite a lot of products made in Ghana. And they had samples there.
Wow.
And we had visitors coming in, so they would come and you take them around, explain. And this helped to get more companies or more nationals to come and set up industry. Unfortunately, I'm sure after the coup, the whole thing was abandoned.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was the AGI president at one point, I asked the minister to institute this, and they opened just a small shelf at the ministry, the current ministry, to exhibit very few of goods produced in Ghana. So I worked there, and then I applied for a scholarship at that time. In fact, I was going to do nursing. That was my original,
intention.
Because the interesting thing was, I had a grandmother who had 11 children, only one daughter, and the daughter was a nurse midwife. So in the eyes of my grandmother, the only good work for a woman is to be a nurse.
A nurse.
So that's what was it. But I worked for the BAM Library, didn't have computers.
Okay.
But I was cataloging books.
Okay.
On computers, quite a lot of them, because that period, anytime they came back from the mills, a whole truck full of books. And I was curious in reading because I realized that within that period, we had more computer books than any other books or any other subject. So when the opportunity came, I did it at physics department.
Okay. So the
IBM organized the course
at the University of Ghana Physics Department.
Because Physics Department was thinking of setting up a computer department at Physics Department.
Okay, of course.
So I did the course, and out of the course, I had a scholarship.
So this is a programming course?
This is a programming course.
So what kind of programming?
I did Fortran 2.
Oh!
So mathematical, and I wasn't too good in maths anyway. But
Fortran 2?
Fortran 2. Later on, I did Fortran 4.
And then Fortran 77 came later, much later.
Anyway, so after the Fortran course, IBM, but during that time, IBM never sold computers. They don't sell.
Oh, okay.
They rent it out. You use and pay rent on it. So that any time you grow out of the system, you need a bigger one. They just remove it and bring you another one.
Oh, okay.
And they train your staff. Or even when you want to interview people, they are involved in interviewing people to get you started.
Yeah.
So I had a scholarship on the basis that after training, I'll come and work at the computer science department at physics department.
Okay, which was just beginning.
Which was just beginning. And the head of department was then Professor Costa. I remember so well, Father Costa.
Okay, white man?
A white man. Okay. Anyway, so Professor Costa signed that I could be trained for the physics department. So I went to England, IBM school in 1968.
So from the course in Fortran 2 that you did here, now Fortran is just a programming language, don't get confused. So you did that one, and then after that you got a scholarship to go to the IBM training school in the UK. Where exactly?
It was in St. John's Wood in England.
Okay,
in London.
London, yeah. Okay. So you did that one again.
So I did the course in programming, and I came back.
Now again, advancing your course, what programming? Still Fortran or
no? I did
other
Fortran
forms?
here, but there I did BASIC, I did RPG, I did COBOL, I did about
Wait,
4
just
languages.
So academically speaking, from secondary school, your next academic challenge was programming. That must be interesting, because it was for people who with mathematics.
I'm surprised because
and
I was in the same class with people with PhDs.
Yes.
But you
and
know
I'm sure
what?
you are finding it easier.
I found it easier because I knew I don't know. I was there to learn. But they knew something, so they were challenging the course, and most of them left the course.
They will, because they all don't make sense like that.
Because in computer language, 2 + 2 is not 4.
Yeah, and even switching from Fortran to even COBOL. COBOL writes a lot of English
That's
language.
Commercial.
Wow.
And Fortran is more mathematical.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Look at the way I'm talking plenty, but if you give me programming, I can't do FOCO. Anyway, this is Mrs. Elizabeth Villars taking us through her life story. We'll take a short break. This is still Footprints. We'll be back, and she'll tell us how she came back to Ghana and whether she indeed went back to start the computer science department. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Footprint, and today I have Mrs. Elizabeth Villars. The name obviously rings a bell, depending on your age. So now, having done all these computer languages from BASIC to Fortran to COBOL, at this time you're not doing Pascal.
No.
Okay. And so you finished everything. How long did it take?
Within a year.
1 year. That's a long time for programming, man.
Yeah, but breaks. It's not continuous.
Oh, okay.
One course, a little break, tests, and continuation.
Okay, so you came back to Ghana after that. And what happened?
Well, I came back to Ghana, and the first thing was to go to physics department, see whether the department is ready for me. Unfortunately, it wasn't.
Okay. Welcome to Ghana.
Welcome to the department wasn't ready. So Professor Costa said, you are free to work anywhere, you know, but obviously there were more IBM computer installations in Ghana than ICL. We had just about 2 or 3.
ICL is the British one.
It's the British one. Most of the installations were IBM, and you've trained on IBM machines and whatnot. So you better, I mean, you are free to look for a job anyway. So I tried a few places. I tried Ghana Airways because I lived at the airport residential area, which was very close. But then I had a baby who wasn't 1 year old.
Oh, okay.
So I remember at the interview, I was asked, how are you going to cope, with a baby? And knowing computer course, programming at that time, it's not like today using softwares and interactive, you wrote your own software, basically. So there were times you may have to sleep in a computer room till the next day because your work is still.
Right, my first degree was in computer science, so
is that right? You understand?
Bear with that. But I was the poorest in programming, I must confess. I was too lazy to do programming.
You have to. Yeah. I was a curious, inquisitive type, and I wanted to see the result. So I'll sit at it. Anyway, so I tried Ghana Airways, and Ghana Airways said because of the baby and the exigencies of the work, we doubt you'll be able to give it a full attention. It was a new installation, not too old too.
Okay.
So I didn't get Ghana Airways. I tried State Insurance. They also had a computer. That time, SNIT didn't have a computer. They were sharing with State Insurance.
Okay.
And it was, we'll put you on waiting list. And then somebody told me Volta River Authority has a computer.
Yeah.
So I went to VRA, I submitted my application, and they had just started not quite 6 months. They had a computer which was basically to do engineering work. But it was a unique computer which nobody had in Ghana. They called it the IBM 1130. It could do both commercial and scientific applications together. You can do that. But it was a tedious, So I applied to VRA. VRA wasn't ready. VRA said, okay, we'll put you on waiting list. We've just appointed somebody who has been here for not quite a month. So let's see how it goes before we can add on. So I went back home, but with programming, it's like learning to play the piano. If you stop doing it, you forget it. It will be difficult. You must be programming, testing, and you are more familiar with it. You write your programs, you do the diagnostics, and the computer tells you how foolish you are for making all those errors. So you do the corrections, you keep on until compilation goes through and you are okay. So I was just looking out for anything, but doing some few programs, going to finance department at Legon to run my programs just to be abreast with what was happening. And then one fine morning, I remember I had a phone call from the chief accountant of VRA who said, are you still available? And I said, I am. Can you report on Monday? So I went on Monday and I was told, you got the job. I don't remember going through any interview. Those days, you wouldn't get a computer programmer easily. Because you'll be trained for an installation. So if installation, you don't take good care of your programmer and you lose the programmer, you're on your own. Unfortunately, they had a systems analyst. I hadn't done systems
design.
I was just a programmer. And they had a systems analyst who got the job. Originally was at the finance department, University of Ghana. I knew him very well. So the guy got the job, and he found himself with a unique machine which nobody had in the country, but was trying to get used to the machine. And those days, IBM would assign you to a systems engineer, somebody who you can rely on in case of any problem. So he came in working, trying his hands, and he found that the VRA computer room didn't have a standby, air conditioners. The whole place was centrally air conditioned. And computer, those days, the mainframes generate a lot of heat. So his first recommendation was, if you don't put in air conditioning units, we can't work. Because the whole staff, key punch operators, 8 of them, machine operators, 4 of them, plus yourself. There were too many people in that room. Without an air conditioner, there was no way they could work. And he argued this case, and VRA said, no, that's a beautiful building. If you put in an air conditioning unit, it will spoil the architectural beauty of VRA. So we won't put in an air conditioner. And this guy said that there's no way your computer will work. But he tried coming to work very early. By 6 o'clock, he was there. By 10 o'clock, when the sun comes out, the place is already heated. He can't work. He will have to stay till evening. And he felt this was too much. If VRA wouldn't, compromise, then he would leave. And unfortunately, he left without notice. He left without notice. And you see, VRA was in a very unique situation because Akosombo Dam was built with these multilateral, IMF, all those world, the key donors, who granted the loans for the building of, and it was done on condition that they will computerize the accounting system. They're giving you money to build, but you are virtually subjected to their auditing and, and they came in almost quarterly to inspect and do a few things. So if they wouldn't have anybody to use the computer for, accounting purposes, then it would be difficult. So I had to step in quickly. And it was the worst time in my life. But I would say, having worked there and haven't done what I did in VRA, there's nowhere under the sun I can go. And there's nothing I can do.
Being a woman.
with a
At the
baby in
time.
the house.
Yeah.
I had 2 children at that time. With a baby in the house, I came to work in the morning. I'll leave VRA. I'm always the last to leave. I was always the last to leave. 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And
this will be in the 70s, early 70s.
1970.
Wow.
This was 1970. But eventually they installed the air conditioners. And then we had to work with a system which nobody understood. My IBM system engineer didn't himself understand this system, which was unique. But by and by, we were able to do it because...
So you worked with VRA then for how long?
I was in VRA for 2 years.
Oh,
I set
2
up the
years.
computer department
Yeah.
at VRA.
Yeah.
Because within that time, the first 6 months in VRA, I was able to write all the programs, put the whole accounting system
Wow.
on a computer that when I finish generating, you have a nominal ledger for an accountant to pick the figures and do
But you hadn't studied accounting.
No,
Wow.
you know, programming, you are like a tailor. You bring your cloth, you show me the style you want to know, and I use
We were made to study accounting. And accounting lecturer, I didn't even understand his English language before I understand accounting.
Well, after my training,
Yeah.
when computer science department started and they started training at Tech
Yes.
and Legon, then they, especially Tech, added accounting bit to it.
Yeah.
Because you would normally serve the accounting department. You must understand the accounting. But you see, I had a boss, the chief accountant. I worked directly under the chief accountant.
Okay.
Who didn't know programming,
but knew
had
what they
used,
wanted.
he knew what he wanted. And that was all that I needed.
Makes it easier.
He knew what he wanted. It was my business to find out the source of information, who handles what, how they get it, what they are getting now and what they are not getting, and where they want to be.
But
that bit is systems.
I mean, for you to single-handedly direct, writing programs that at the time could be used to generate accounting reports and payroll, that was huge.
If you ask me how, I can't tell you how. There were a few things that I've been able to do. When I'm asked today, how did you do it? I said, I don't know.
The motivation was high, and but that's even today, if one is able to do that for a huge institution like, that's highly commendable.
Let me tell you another story. VRA had a chief accountant. When I was there, when I was working as a programmer, the director of finance, I don't know whether you've heard the name, Mr. Kalichi.
Of course.
He
later became the boss of VRA.
He later became the chief executive of VRA. When I was in industry, when I started setting my company, anytime the World Bank came to VRA for board meeting or for their meeting, he will call me or tell the World Bank people, I'm taking you to a company run by a woman who used to be my computer programmer here. And he will call me and bring the World Bank guys to Camelot, my office, to see the setup. And I met a finance director much later after I had left. The first day he heard my name, he said, are you Mrs. Villars? I said, yes. Oh, Mrs. Villars, how can you do this to us? Oh, Mrs. Villars. I said, I don't know you. He said, no. And this man, he was just tantalizing me. And I said, what is it about? He said, I came to VRA to work, and every time there's a crisis, Mr. Kalichi will say, if Mrs. Villas were here, this thing would have been done. We are spending money on software, buying softwares, and the same problem. Oh, Mrs. Villas, so you made Mr. Kalichi do this to all of us. Anyway, it was interesting for me. I was curious.
And you were there for 2 years, 3 years?
I was in VRA for 2 years.
Wow.
For 2 years.
And then you left?
I left VRA.
For another company?
Not for another company, not to do computer work again. But whilst at VRA, I designed the payroll system for VRA. They used it for even more than 10 years after I'd left.
Wow.
And an Israeli company came to VRA to sell pay slips, pay slips, salary advice slips.
Yeah.
So they saw my boss, the chief accountant, and said they wanted to sell some pay slips with samples. And I would obviously be called. So I was called to see if those pay slips could be used at VRA. I looked at them and I said, most of the information on the pay slip are not relevant. We need to design.
Form design.
We need to design something for our own. And I remember this guy's name, he was Dr. Rees, a Jew, an Israeli. So he said, Madam, do you know how long it takes to design a form like this? I'm in Ghana for 3 days, I'm leaving. And it took us a while to do this. And I said, Dr. Rees, I write my own programs. I know the format. I know where positions that I want to put, the fields where I want to print. So if you don't mind, I'll design my own, form for VRA, which will be more relevant to our use than what you are proposing. He said, oh, you can try. I said, it will be ready tomorrow afternoon. I don't think it took me that while. I mean, if you write the programs and you are able to print it on ordinary
sheet of paper,
you should be able to translate it into it. So I did it. And I remember Dr. Rees saying, I've never seen an African woman who is so confident. I said, African women are very confident.
But you did it.
I did it.
Yes.
He took it away. And after about 9 months, he was back in Ghana. And he said my design had been selected by Cyprus, Uganda, and another African country. So he brought me a special gift, for designing that for them. And then later on, he invited me to be his agent in Ghana. But those days, all the computers in Ghana were not more than 14. Even 14 when I had almost left the industry. There were just few computers.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about ICL, the British ones, you'll be thinking of railways and income tax.
Yeah. Actually, I worked for ICL. So
you worked for ICL?
That's why I started my business.
Oh, is that right? ICL had only railways. And,
it was taken over by Rees and Co. So
yes.
Yeah.
But most of the installations were IBM.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So Dr. Rees made me his representative in Ghana. But then I couldn't work. I didn't know business. When people tell me I'm a successful business person, I said, the systems background is what propels me to do other things.
I agree with you
100%. When you do systems, there's nothing you can't do. Yeah, so that was what propelled me to do that. Because business for what?
Yeah.
And business is all, systems.
Yeah.
You must have structures, you must have systems to work and perform. Anyway, so I became the agent, but then I worked with Dizengoff. Have you heard about Dizengoff? They're still there.
They are there. They are everywhere, man.
Yeah, Dizengoff was the
Israeli company.
It's an Israeli. Yeah. They took care of Israeli interests in Ghana.
In Ghana, okay.
Okay. So Dizengoff, any Israeli company could supply goods and services to Ghana, but they should work through Dizengoff.
Yeah. They're all over West Africa.
They're over West Africa. So Dr. Rees came and invited me to join, to be his local rep. And I said, local rep, I'm not too sure whether I would want to. So I told my husband, and men, my husband said, you are working in a prestigious place like Volta River Authority, head of computer department. Such a prestigious, you're going to work as, sales representative, walking on corridors to sell computer stuff. So he wasn't, he didn't like the idea the first time, so I declined the offer. But later on, Dr. Rees came in again. And funny enough, when he came, I was expecting your friend. I was seriously pregnant with Johnny.
Oh, nice.
So
Johnny, I hope you are watching.
So I said, wait for me to have the baby. After that, we'll talk about business. So after that, I resigned from VRA.
Oh, okay.
So VRA, then I was responsible for computer products.
Okay.
So I set up a small company called Dizengoff Data Service.
Okay.
Because I was working with Dizengoff.
Yeah.
So Dizengoff, I will recommend what needs to be ordered, imported. I'll go around all my colleagues' computer, But you see, I was lucky in a way because during that same time, IBM was sued in America over monopoly. Because IBM was selling computers and selling computer products and accessories. So they were taken to court and they were sued, and the other business people won.
Yeah.
So IBM was kicked from the stationery market. So they send letters to all installations. You must all look for your own sources of supply.
Wow.
We can't supply you with computer products anymore. So this came in at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, so I became their agent here.
Yeah.
And because I was a user, I knew what products, I knew what machines every installation uses. You know, I was able to help to stock the goods locally.
So at this point, we're in the mid-70s.
We were in the mid-70s.
Mid-70s,
yes.
where Kutu Achampong was
then
head of
Achampong
state.
came in and all that.
Yeah. So, how did you leave Dizengov, and did you start your own business immediately after that?
You see, I registered as Dizengov Data Service whilst I was working with Dizengov. I was operating under Dizengov.
Okay.
And then somewhere in the 70s, you knew there was this Israeli war and the Arabs.
Yep.
So African countries boycotted Israeli stuff, Israeli goods.
Sure.
So that became another problem, which means my goods from Israel will not enter Ghana anymore.
Ooh.
And I had resigned from DRA. But then what I thought of doing was one of the Israelis there I was working with directly, in charge of accounts, said, why don't you register with the US Department of Commerce for computer products? So I went to the US Embassy, I registered, and in less than a month, mind you, we didn't have, those days there were only cables, not even telex.
Yeah.
Telex and cable. Now you have internet and all that. So I had a lot of computer products coming to me. So many companies in America wanting an agent, not an agent, a representative in Ghana. And through that, I introduced so many computer products into the Ghanaian market. Right. Not only punch cards and computer forms, but then diskettes came in, tapes
storage
came in,
devices,
storage devices, computer furniture and all that. So that's how I entered that business. So, but then I had to register another company, not as Dizengov Data Service anymore, but West Africa Data Service.
West Africa Data Service.
So
and that
I was
marketing around for a while.
I was marketing computer products, and then I started offering computer services to companies who didn't have computers.
It's getting interesting. So I am having a chat with Mrs. Lisbeth Villars, and we haven't even started talking about the main company that we've always associated her with. But you know, normally we know people for what the news will say about them, but now we are knowing her for what she has to tell the news. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. This is FootPrints. My name is Attah-Mensah, and I'm here with Mrs. Lisbeth Villars, and I know you've been following the story. We still have some time to go, so just pay attention, okay? Just pay attention. So West Africa Data Services provided all sorts of computer services, and I'm sure you were one of the most sought after businesses, because there were not too many of you.
No. There weren't that many. In fact, computer users were very few.
And you knew everybody by name.
They were my colleagues. So every installation, I knew the head of computer installation.
I'm telling you.
And business it wasn't like serious business like buying and selling. I mean, they'll plan their requirement, you order for them. Yeah. Keep paying attention.
And then the banks also started using computers?
Yes, the bank started the first bank to use computers in Ghana. I think
it Bank of Ghana?
No. Interestingly, Bank of Ghana didn't have a computer, but Accra City Council had a computer.
Oh, okay.
And Bank of Ghana bought computer time from Accra City Council.
Wow.
They were just next door neighbors.
Please, Accra City Council is now AMA, so
AMA,
don't get confused.
That's right.
Okay, so which bank had a computer then?
Well, later on, I mean, Ghana Commercial Bank had Olivetti.
Olivetti, the Italian branch.
The Italian type. They started, but they didn't start on a very good foot. So the installation didn't last very long.
Yeah.
It didn't last very long.
So you had all these, okay, at that
But
time.
I was in the 80s was when most banks started.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I designed all their, bank statements for them.
Okay.
Standard Chartered, Barclays Bank, ADB, I mean,
wow.
all of them.
So you are providing services to all the main banks at the time?
Well, the main banks, yes. I was supplying their computer needs, designing their forms, statement forms, and then the oil companies also started computerizing. Texaco at that time, Shell, Mobil, Goyle, and all the others. So I was working for most of them.
You were influential.
I enjoy the work. I wish I thought about the money.
Well, you are fancy.
You know it, don't you? You know it. Fancies get good names, and that's all they are proud about.
Why they get their bread and butter?
Oh, then they are okay. They
something small.
Something small. That's right.
Also, fancy. So now, at which point did you put Camelot together? And what was the need?
The need was, during that time, all the time that I was operating, I needed an import license.
Okay, what is that?
You see?
Look, I know what it is.
It's interesting.
But
during those days, for you to import anything from outside, you needed an import license, and it should be issued by Ministry of Trade. Those in industries had their import licenses issued by Ministry of Industries. Now, I was servicing almost all the computer installations. More have joined. I have created more by even designing systems for Graphic Corporation, National Lotteries, Highway Authority, a few other people, writing programs and running reports for them.
Please, don't think that what she's saying it so that the thing looks so easy. But please, it's tough.
Anyways, I was doing this for them, and no amount of import license was sufficient. Because import licenses were based on the national economy, quotas. So you could get an import license this year, next year you could get half of that, and it was a bit erratic. So the idea of having a company in Ghana to produce the computer forms became apparent. Now, when I wasn't getting the goods from Israel anymore, I had registered West Africa Data Service, and I was importing the computer stuff from a company in America called Camelot Business Systems International. They were supplying punch cards, computer forms, but then I had other companies supplying diskettes and all the other accessories. And each time I had to import, I would tell them I don't have enough import license. So I was in America on one of the trips, I think that was in 1974. I visited the company, and the president of the company said, why don't we think about setting up the plant in Ghana? To begin with, he had never come to Africa, anywhere in Africa. So I invited him to Ghana, and I invited all the computer users. During the time that I was active, West Africa Data Service, my company was the only company that brought all computer users together at the end of the year. I invited all the systems men, the programmers, the operators, the heads of, it was the only occasion where they all met.
Wow.
Otherwise, everybody was operating in their own. And I happened to be the only woman at that time for quite some time. So I brought them together. So I said, to create this market here, I already have the market. And if you don't have enough stationery, you can't grow your department. You can't computerize more. I mean, you can't grow the computer department because of, inputs that one would need to do. So I agreed with Camelot that we'll set up the company. And we registered Camelot Ghana Limited. Okay. I didn't want to change the name, so I used Camelot Ghana Limited. They visited Ghana, they were happy with the place, and they wanted to do the business, but unfortunately, they didn't play well at all. They issued invoices for importation of machines, raw materials, and they inflated it so high that for about a year or two I was holding an import license but couldn't open letter of credit.
Wow.
Until Barclays Bank, the head of corporate department, an English guy, Mr. Rankin, said, Mrs. Villars, we know computer is something for the future. We would want to support you, but I think your business is too expensive. Are you sure these people are not playing a fast one? So I decided to go to America to meet the board of Camelot. I was going and I dragged my husband along in case they wouldn't beat me anyway, but I decided to take somebody along. So we went and I said, okay, you've issued us with invoices to open the credit, but we need invoices from the suppliers. If we're buying paper, we want the paper supplier to give us an invoice. The machine producer should give us an invoice. And through that, we got to know that they were not
killing you.
So I kicked them out and discovered the agent for the machine, Schreiber machine.
Yeah.
It's like having IBM, the same price all over the world. And this guy was responsible for Africa and the Middle East. So he came and issued the right invoices. And we started with one simple machine.
To print computer forms.
To print even to print was difficult because that time, as for Camelot's story, it takes a whole, Opening letter of credit took a while. And when we were ready, the machine could be supplied in 9 months' time. And any import license after December, it expires.
That's it.
So they were able to send us a collator. A collator means we'll have to print the papers in a printing mill in Europe or elsewhere and bring them here to fold, collate them into 2 copies, 3 copies, up to 6 copies. So we brought a collator that could do 6 copies. And it is still there, working well.
So that's how you started.
That's how we started. So we started collating in 1980. In 1986, we got the first press. And then 1990, after 10 years, we got the second press. And then subsequently, we got...
So it was to produce all forms of computer forms.
Any form that enters the computer with sprocket holes.
Yeah.
We can...
Because those are the format for printing.
The format for printing.
So you didn't, at the time, you didn't use A4 sheets that we use now to slot into the printer and then...
No.
What kind of printers were they using at the time? Lot matrix?
Those days, we were using, what do you call it? High-speed printers. They are not tabletop printers.
Okay.
You had printers that were printed 600 lines a minute, 1,200 lines a minute, 340 lines a minute and all that. High-speed printers.
Okay.
Because they were attached to mainframes.
Yeah.
Not...
Okay.
It was after my time that minis came, and now you have
all those
small ones.
Interesting. So, tell us more. From the computer papers, how did you expand the company? Because the company became so huge in Ghana.
Well, you see, in printing, and because of computerization, you say the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
People are computerizing. When I started in the 60s, very few people knew about computers. 70s, still low. 80s were when some of the banks started. But by 1990, a few companies have started using, oil companies, banks have computerized, utility services have all computerized. And even individual companies, because of payroll and other bits, they were all starting to, use computers. So it was easy for us to, once you understand the subject, when you know that this company is starting, you have an idea of what they are going to do anyway.
Wow.
So you will approach them. And we're designing the format here. You see, we made it easier for more people to computerize and expand. In the past, before I started this business, if you want a pay slip, you have to send it to Europe, anywhere overseas, for them to design it, bring it to you, do the correction, bring you few samples, test, and be sure. It takes you more than 3 months. But now that is at your doorstep. I visit you, tell me what you want. In 2 days' time, your artwork is ready. And you see, when you bring them already printed and designed, you pay more. Once the job is done locally, you are so, I mean, Camelot, I mean, was able to expand the usage of computers in the country.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at some point, technology changed.
Technology was changing because we were printing continuous checks also. You know, with large institutions, you can't have an accountant issuing checks all the time. So we design continuous checks. So continuous checks means you have a small software to write the checks.
Yeah.
And even some of the checks could be signed at the same time as they were being printed.
Yeah.
So that also became another area. Then the mica checks was introduced.
Yeah, yeah.
And that has a whole lot of political whatnot. I wouldn't want to go into that.
Yeah.
So they started, and we had to fight very hard because one company was given almost the encouragement and autonomy to print the checks. And we thought it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Because to do check printing, you need to have another plant, a whole line of, and that was why we went on the stock market. I mean, we floated shares on the stock market. We did that in which year? I think 1998.
Yeah.
So we went on the stock market as the first indigenous Ghanaian company.
On the stock market.
On the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Wow.
So we did that, and we were able to.
I mean, look, your business looked like your passion.
It is.
And apart from Camelot, you are involved in other leadership roles.
You see, Ghana, one thing in Ghana is just like you have, if I tell you the number of people who have come here to interview me, you'll be amazed. Yeah. They find one person, they use the person until the person disappears.
No, you are not disappearing. Even your mother is here, so you are not going anywhere yet. You know? Yeah, but I mean, look, it's exemplary and it motivates other women.
Yes.
You know, we in media, we struggle to get women to talk to on issues. I'm telling you. So for people like you, you pioneered a lot of things, and by the grace of God, you're still alive to tell your story. And so, what is it that you would want to tell up and coming young women, especially, based on your own experiences growing up in Ghana, business-wise, and all that, before we leave you?
You see, dedication to duty is very important. And I would attribute everything that I've done to discipline. Discipline. I mean, and also trying to be persistent in whatever you're doing. Some people start a program, start doing something. They won't fight to get it done. They won't struggle to have it stabilized. Then they'll move on to something else. They keep moving. I don't believe in that. If I start one product, I must do it to the very end. And I believe in growth. If you start doing a particular job, and you're on it for several years without any growth, obviously it's not the right job for you, or you are not applying the right, So this period in time, I would say the younger generation have more opportunities. With internet, with all these media and opportunities available, you can even go on it and research and get more information. During our time, all these things didn't exist. If I want to send information, I have to send a cable. Then telex came. Now we are talking about video conferencing, we're talking about emailing, we're talking about Facebook and all those Twitters and whatnot. So there are more opportunities. But the more opportunities there are, it makes the competition harder because everybody struggles to get there. But what I'll tell, I would say that there are a lot of young people in the system who are doing wonderful things. but maybe we haven't identified them.
Yeah.
I remember there were a couple of times when I'm asked to come and give a talk or come in, I said, look, you can't be recycling or using the same person all the time. There are more, they said, then give us some names. I'll call out some. I said, try and identify them. They are younger people. I read about them. Sometimes I listen on, there's a program which comes on TV. I've forgotten which station. No, after TV news. They always profile one person who is doing something special.
Okay.
I don't know whether you watch it on GTV after the 7 o'clock news. They identify one person doing something special in the system. And I find those quite challenging and quite good. So younger people have more opportunities, but it's still, they have to look out for all these opportunities and handle them. But discipline is very important. I've worked for years. There's nothing like today I don't feel like going to work, so I won't go to work. I work as if I have a boss.
Yeah.
If I have to be there at a time, I'm there at the time. If for any reason I'm not there, office should know where I'm going before coming there. So that kind of systematic way of doing things is also important. That's my message for younger people.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Villars. We are so grateful you made time for us. And we tell them that you are alive and well, and as they see, you still have a lot to offer. We won't stop worrying you. We will not stop worrying you because you are a great source of inspiration to the young people and Ghanaians at large.
We've done our bit, and we are, hopeful that the younger generation
will take it to the next level
and do better than what we have done. That's what I said.
Great.
We have to improve on what the older people have
hope
done.
So too.
Yes.
We hope so too. Anyway, so you've been watching FootPrints, and today I had the honor and privilege of having a chat with Mrs. Elizabeth Joyce Villars. Thanks for watching. This has been FootPrint. My name is Samuel Attah-Mensah.